My mom and my dad weren't looking for help from the government. They both walked off of farms at the age of 18, literally with the clothes on their back. They walked off different farms. But they hooked up in Mansfield, Ohio, got married, ended up living in Atlanta, Georgia. And moving to Atlanta, Georgia, my brother and I, they raised us in what my brother and I called a half house. A 6-room house with 3 rooms on one side, 3 rooms on the other side. With the wall going down the middle. My brother and I used to call it a half a house. We said, Dad, why do we live in a half a house? Dad said, it's a duplex. But Dad, we only live in half of it. It's a duplex. We didn't argue with Dad. Because Dad was working 3 jobs. He was a barber, a janitor, and a chauffeur.
All right.
He used one to put food on the table, the second one to put a roof over our head, and that third one to save for his American dream, which was to one day buy a whole house. And he did it the old-fashioned way. He worked for it. I'll never forget the day when Dad came home on a Saturday and told my mother and brother and I, get in the car. We got in the car. You don't argue with Dad. A man with 3 jobs is usually not home on Saturdays anyway. But Dad was home on a Saturday. We going, this is different. He said, get in the car. We got in the car. 35 minutes later, going west on Bankhead Highway, Dad pulled up on a little street called Albert Street. Stopped in front of the 3rd house on the right. Little brick house. Not attached to any other house. There's grass growing around it. Dad announced to my brother and my mother and I, this is our new home. We said, what? We jumped out of the car, ran up to the front door of this house. The door was locked. Dad walked up very proudly, took the key out of his pocket, put it in the front door, don't you know, went inside, announced to the family, it's got 2 bedrooms. One for you boys, one for your mom and me. And I'm going to buy y'all twin beds. We thought we had died and gone to heaven. Twin beds. Bishop Russell, we thought heaven had come down on earth. Dad's going to buy us twin beds. Because living in that duplex, my brother and I slept on a cot in the kitchen. And every evening, we'd argue over who's supposed to let it out. And every morning, we argue over who's supposed to take it up. Now we're going to have twin beds in our own room. My mother was in tears of joy. She didn't know Dad had saved enough money to buy that house. She didn't even know that Dad had gone out and bought the house. Don't try that today, men. Not a good idea. You'll be living in that sucker with Rover the dog. Honey, I have a surprise for you. A brand new house you have never seen. Oh, no, you didn't. When they put their hands on their hips and that neck starts moving, man, you're in a heap of trouble. But Dad could get away with that. That was his American dream. And he was able to do so because he didn't have as many governmental, legislative, and tax barriers in his way, the way we have today. We have become a nation of crises. Leadership is the biggest thing that we need. When I was growing up as a little boy, I never thought that I would be running for president of the United States of America. Growing up in a very humble household, my dream was to one day make me some money. When you grow up broke, your dream is to make some money. I've done okay, real comfortable, but I'm not a cajillionaire. But about 12 years ago, my first grandchild was born. And when I looked into that little face for the very first time, the first thought that went through my mind wasn't, what do I need to do to make sure she gets a good education? Or what do I need to do to make sure she gets a good start in life? Like my parents wanted me to get a good start in life. You want your kids to get a start in life? The first thought that went through my mind, so help me God, what do I do to make this a better nation and a better world? 12 years ago, I didn't know the answer. 2.5 years ago, I didn't know the answer. Before Barack Obama took office, I was happily doing my radio show 5 nights a week, 3 hours a night. Enjoying it. I never thought I was going to end up in radio, but I did. It forced me to pay closer attention to what was going on. But then after President Obama took office, hired 36+ czars, started spending like there was no tomorrow, cutting the shuttle program, shutting down the missile defense project that had started in Turkey. I and you witnessed the weakening of America, and I could not stand it. And I happen to believe that there are two plans in life. There's your plan, and then there's God's plan. Amen. God didn't always tell you what his plan is for you all at once because we couldn't handle it. But I prayed and worked, and God allowed me to achieve my American dream, and I did, and then some. And then God said, now you got to work on my plan. I said, well, Lord, I want to go into cruise control and play golf from time to week.
That's the other president.
Yeah. When America is in trouble. And so that first grandchild, then the second one, and then the third one made me realize that I needed to do more to help change this country.